Hey everyone, throwaway account because my main has friends and family on it, and I really don't need them knowing all this right now. I 30 for meters have been married to my wife 30 to F for 6 years. We've had our ups and downs like any couple, but I honestly thought we were solid. We both have decent jobs, bought a small house 2 years ago, and we're even talking about maybe trying for a kid next year. If you asked me 3 months ago, I would have said my wife, Lisa, was my best friend. We ate inside jokes, late night takeout sessions, and that kind of easy comfort that comes with knowing someone deeply. I wasn't naive enough to think marriage was perfect, but I believed in us. Then little things started to change. She became distant. Not obviously at first, just subtle stuff. She started staying late at work more often, saying there was a new project keeping her busy. When I'd ask how it was going, she'd snap like I was pestering her. She also started guarding her phone like it was made of gold. Before, she'd leave it lying around. Now, it was always face down on silent. I brushed it off at first, told myself I was overthinking, that she was stressed. I even tried to be more supportive, cooked dinner, cleaned more, gave her space. But the space just grew wider, and I started feeling like a stranger in my own house. At that point, I didn't think cheating. Not yet. I just thought maybe she was unhappy and didn't know how to say it. But looking back, that was the start of everything unraveling. Part 2 coming next, the first real sign that something was seriously wrong. It started with something small. A text message. It was a Sunday morning, and Lisa was in the shower. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. Normally, I wouldn't have even looked, but the preview lit up the screen and the message said, "Can't stop thinking about last night." No name. Just a heart emoji next to the contact. My stomach dropped. My first instinct was no, this can't be what it looks like. I stared at the phone for a good 30 seconds, trying to convince myself it was a joke, a friend messing around, something. Then she came out of the bathroom, towel around her hair, humming like nothing was wrong. I must have looked like I'd seen a ghost because she immediately asked what was wrong. I froze and just said, "Someone texted you." She snatched the phone so fast it made me flinch. Then she laughed, and said, "Oh my God, you're not snooping through my messages now, are you? It's just Sarah being stupid." I knew her best friend's name wasn't accompanied by a heart emoji, but I didn't say that. I wanted to believe her. I told myself it was an innocent misunderstanding, and that if I pushed it, I'd look paranoid. She kissed me on the cheek, said she had errands to run, and left. But the moment the door closed, something inside me twisted. That was the first time I realized I didn't trust her. Not really. And once that seed of doubt was planted, it started growing faster than I could control. Part 3 coming next. The day I decided to find out the truth for myself. A week after the mystery text, I couldn't take it anymore. My gut wouldn't shut up. Every little thing she did suddenly looked suspicious. How she'd smile at her phone. How she'd step outside to take a quick call. How she'd suddenly start wearing perfume just to go get groceries. I tried to talk myself down, but the feeling wouldn't leave. So, one Friday night when she said she was working late again, I decided to test it. I texted her around 8 p.m. asking if she wanted me to bring dinner to our office. Normally, she'd respond within seconds. This time, nothing. 10 minutes. 20. Then, finally, "Oh, babe, I'm in a meeting. Can't talk right now except her office was closed on Fridays after 6. I knew because I'd been there before to pick her up. That's when I felt this weird mix of panic and adrenaline. So, yeah, I did something I never thought I'd do. I drove to her office. The parking lot was empty except for her car. The building was dark. I sat there for 15 minutes, just staring at it, waiting to see if she'd come out. She didn't. Around 9:30, she called me. Voice all casual, "Hey babe, just finishing up, probably home soon." I said okay, but my brain was already spinning. If she wasn't at work, where was she? That night, when she came home, her hair was down, makeup fresh, and she smelled like a mix of wine and some cologne that wasn't mine. I asked how work went, and she smiled, that fake, too sweet smile, and said, "Exhausting. You wouldn't believe how long that meeting dragged." I think that was the moment I knew. Not 100%, but deep down, I knew. Still, I didn't have proof, and she was good at lying, scarily good. Part 4 coming next. When I finally caught her in a way she couldn't talk her way out of. About a week later, my gut made the decision for me. I needed actual proof. No more guessing, no more wondering if I was being crazy. I installed a location sharing app on my phone months ago, when she was driving long distances for work. Her idea, ironically. I'd never used it since, but one night, she said she had a late client dinner at some restaurant downtown. After she left, curiosity got the better of me. I opened the app. She wasn't downtown. She was at a residential address across town. A condo complex. My hands started shaking. I told myself I'd just drive by, see the address, and go home. Nothing dramatic. Just confirm what I already suspected. When I pulled up, her car was there, parked right out front. Lights on inside one of the units. Curtains half drawn. I sat there, engine running, trying to convince myself to leave. But then I saw her, through that half-open curtain, laughing, wine glass in hand, sitting way too close to some guy on the couch. I couldn't see everything, but I didn't need to. The way she looked at him, that easy, flirty smile. It was the same one she used to give me years ago. I drove home on autopilot, numb. She came in around midnight, humming, acting tired. I asked how dinner was. She sighed dramatically and said, exhausting. I just want to shower and sleep. And she kissed me goodnight. That kiss felt like being stabbed. Part 5 coming next. The confrontation I'll never forget. The next morning, I couldn't pretend anymore. I barely slept. I kept replaying that image in my head. Her laughing on that couch like she didn't have a husband waiting at home. Over breakfast, she was scrolling through her phone, acting casual, and I just snapped. I said, who's the guy you were with last night? Her head jerked up, eyes wide for half a second, then the mask came on. What are you talking about? She said, all defensive. I told her I knew where she was, that I'd seen her car, that I'd seen her. At first, she tried to gaslight me, said I was paranoid, that she had been at dinner, that maybe I saw someone else. But when I mentioned the name of the condo complex, she froze. That's when the lies started unraveling. She flipped it on me. Are you seriously stalking me now? This is insane. You've been so controlling lately. No wonder I needed space. I couldn't even speak. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. All I could manage was, are you sleeping with him? Silence. Then she laughed, that cold, bitter kind of laugh, and said, if you're going to accuse me, then maybe I should have been. That line broke something in me. I told her I was done. She started crying, suddenly switching gears, saying she just needed attention, that nothing actually happened, that it was just emotional. But I'd seen the way she touched him. I knew. I left the house for a few hours after that. Just drove with no destination, windows down, trying to breathe. My marriage, my life, it all felt like it had collapsed in a single morning. Part 6 coming next. The truth that finally came out when she realized I wasn't backing down. When I came back that night, the house felt different. Quiet, heavy, like it knew something had broken that couldn't be fixed. Lisa was sitting on the couch, eyes red, tissues everywhere. She looked up when I walked in, trying to do that thing where she acts small and vulnerable. I'm sorry, she said immediately. I didn't mean for it to go that far. I didn't even sit down. So it did go that far, I said. She hesitated, then nodded. Just barely. And just like that, it was real. Not a hunch, not paranoia, not overthinking. She had actually done it. She said his name was Evan, that he was someone from work, that it just happened. Claimed it started a couple months ago, that she felt like I wasn't listening to her anymore. Classic line. I'd heard it before, in other people's stories, and now it was coming out of my wife's mouth. When I asked why she didn't just talk to me, she shrugged and said, you wouldn't have understood. That stung. I've spent years trying to be a good partner, listening, being patient, showing up. And now she was acting like I was some emotionally clueless robot. Then, as if she couldn't stand sitting in the wrong for more than 30 seconds, she started turning it on me again. You were distant too. You made me feel unloved. Maybe if you'd tried harder. Every word she said felt like someone twisting a knife. By the end, I just told her I couldn't look at her. She said she'd sleep in the guest room. As she walked away, she muttered, it's not like I meant to ruin everything. But she did. And deep down, I think she knew she'd just lost me. The next few days were pure emotional whiplash. At first, Lisa acted cold, almost defiant, like she didn't care if the marriage ended. She'd stomp around the house, roll her eyes whenever I spoke, and make comments like you're not exactly innocent either, which, for the record, I was. It felt like she wanted me to be the bad guy so she could justify what she'd done. Then, suddenly, she flipped. One morning I woke up to her making pancakes, my favorite, and wearing that fake sweet smile again. She said, "We can get through this if you just stop holding on to anger." I swear the audacity left me speechless. I asked her if she'd ended things with Evan. She said, "Of course," but her tone was too quick to defensive. When I asked to see her phone, she flat out refused. Said, "You don't get to control me just because I messed up." That's when I realized she wasn't sorry for cheating. She was sorry for getting caught. She started love bombing me after that. Long texts during the day about how we were meant to be, showing up early from work with takeout, saying things like, "Let's just start over." But every time I looked at her, all I could see was her laughing in that guy's living room. I tried to talk about therapy, to see if maybe, we could fix it. But she refused, said, "I don't need a stranger judging me. I just need you." About 2 weeks after the confrontation, I started noticing little things again. The late texts, her phone buzzing when she thought I was looking, the faint smell of cologne that wasn't hers. I tried to ignore it, told myself maybe I was just being paranoid. But then one night, I stayed up later than usual, pretending to sleep, and she left the bedroom to grab water. Her phone lit up on the nightstand. Message preview. "Can't wait to see you again." That was it. My chest felt like it exploded. She hadn't ended it. She'd been lying this whole time. The pancakes, the sweet texts, the fake apologies, all lies. I didn't even wait for her to come back. I grabbed her phone. She came back into the room, saw me holding it, and froze. I said, "Evan, you never ended it." She stammered, tried to play dumb, said, "No. It's just a friend. You're overreacting." I showed her the messages, the timestamps, the location tags. She tried to snatch the phone, yelled at me for invading her privacy, but I didn't care anymore. The truth was out, and she had nowhere to hide. Finally, after another long silence, she dropped her head, muttering, "I don't know what I want anymore." And that's when I realized it wasn't about us. It wasn't about fixing things. It was never about me. She just wanted what she wanted, and I wasn't it anymore. After that night, I felt like my brain was broken. Every memory I had of Lisa was tainted. The little things, her laugh, the way she tucked her hair behind her ear, even her perfume, now felt like betrayal. I couldn't watch TV without thinking, was she here last night with him? I couldn't cook without imagining her making pancakes for him instead of me. Sleep became impossible. I'd lie awake staring at the ceiling, heart racing, stomach in knots. Some nights I would drive aimlessly just to get out of the house and try to think. Other nights I'd sit in silence, staring at her side of the bed, trying to remember when things went wrong. Anger came in waves. I wanted to scream at her, to hurt her the way she hurt me, but I held it in. Partly because I was shocked, partly because I was exhausted, and beneath the anger there was a deep, gnawing sadness. Like someone had hollowed me out and left me walking around with nothing inside. Friends noticed the change immediately. I tried to explain without getting into specifics, just saying, "We're going through a rough patch." But even their sympathy didn't help. Because sympathy doesn't make betrayal disappear. It does. About a month after everything came out, I reached the point where I couldn't pretend anymore. Not for her, not for me. One evening, she came home, smiling like nothing had happened, holding a bottle of wine. "Let's just relax and forget all this," she said. I laughed, not a joking laugh, a bitter, hollow one. I realized then that I couldn't live like this. Constantly doubting, constantly hurting, constantly questioning whether she was being truthful. Every day felt like walking on broken glass, and no matter what she said, I knew it wasn't going to change. I told her calmly, for the first time since discovering the affair, I can't do this anymore. I can't be with someone who lies to me and cheats on me. I tried to forgive, I tried to move on, but I can't. Her reaction was everything I expected. Tears, yelling, accusations. "You're overreacting. You're just as bad as me. You don't love me anymore." But I stayed quiet, because for once I had clarity. I loved her once, but this wasn't love. It was destruction. I slept in the guest room that night for the first time in years, and it felt peaceful. Strange, but peaceful. The next few weeks were a logistical and emotional nightmare. Moving out of the haze of betrayal wasn't just about feelings. It was about everything we had built together. Bills, furniture, joint accounts, even our pets. Everything became a question of how to divide what had once been ours. I started by changing passwords, email, bank accounts, streaming services. The small but crucial acts of reclaiming my life. She ranted about it, called me controlling and paranoid, but inside I felt a tiny spark of relief. For the first time in months, I felt like I was in control of something. We had to have hard conversations about who would stay in the house, who would move out, what belongings each of us would take. She tried to manipulate me with guilt trips. After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me. But I just repeated the same mantra in my head. I am not responsible for her choices. Friends helped me pack. Nights were long and quiet, filled with the hollow sounds of shuffling boxes and soft curses under my breath. Each box I carried out felt like shedding a piece of the life I thought I had. By the time I finally moved into a small apartment nearby, I realized that freedom came with a cost, loneliness, heartbreak, and the weird, aching weight of betrayal. But even in that exhaustion, there was clarity. I was no longer her victim. I was starting to be myself again. When I came back that night, the house felt different. Quiet, heavy, like it knew something had broken that couldn't be fixed. Lisa was sitting on the couch, eyes red, tissues everywhere. She looked up when I walked in, trying to do that thing where she acts small and vulnerable. "I'm sorry," she said immediately. "I didn't mean for it to go that far. I didn't even sit down." "So it did go that far," I said. She hesitated, then nodded. Just barely. And just like that, it was real. Not a hunch, not paranoia, not overthinking. She had actually done it. She said his name was Evan, that he was someone from work, that it just happened. Claimed it started a couple months ago, that she felt like I wasn't listening to her anymore. Classic line. I'd heard it before, in other people's stories, and now it was coming out of my wife's mouth. When I asked why she didn't just talk to me, she shrugged and said, "You wouldn't have understood." That stung. I've spent years trying to be a good partner, listening, being patient, showing up. And now she was acting like I was some emotionally clueless robot. Then, as if she couldn't stand sitting in the wrong for more than 30 seconds, she started turning it on me again. "You were distant too. You made me feel unloved. Maybe if you'd tried harder." Every word she said felt like someone twisting an eye. By the end, I just told her I couldn't look at her. She said she'd sleep in the guest room. As she walked away, she muttered, "It's not like I meant to ruin everything." But she did. And deep down, I think she knew she'd just lost me. Once I had space, I could finally focus on me. I started small. Going for morning runs, making my apartment feel like a home, cooking meals I actually enjoyed instead of catering to her whims. It sounds trivial, but each small victory reminded me I could exist independently, that I wasn't defined by the marriage or her lies. I reconnected with friends I'd drifted from. Nights out weren't about escaping her anymore, they were about rediscovering laughter I'd forgotten I had. I even started journaling, putting down every raw thought, every angry flashback, every pang of sadness. Somehow, seeing it on paper made it less like a living thing inside me. Work became a refuge. I threw myself into projects, not as an escape, but as a reminder that I could excel, that life still had purpose and meaning beyond betrayal. Slowly, I started feeling pride again, not for her, not for the marriage, but for me. Most importantly, I began learning boundaries. I realized I didn't owe her understanding, explanations, or forgiveness. At least not yet. Every time she tried to contact me with apologies or excuses, I reminded myself that I had survived the worst of her dishonesty. I was entitled to space, to healing, to reclaiming my life. Looking back, I can finally see the patterns I ignored, the red flags I rationalized away. Lisa was manipulative, selfish, and skilled at bending the truth. But I also learned a lot about myself, about patience, resilience, and the importance of listening to my gut. The biggest lesson? Betrayal isn't just about the act itself, it's about the erosion of trust. The way lies can make you question reality, and no matter how much love you have, no one can rebuild that trust for you if the other person isn't willing to be fully honest. I also realized that self-respect is non-negotiable. I wasted months feeling guilty for being angry or hurt, thinking maybe I'd provoked her behavior somehow. That was nonsense. Her choices were hers alone, and I had every right to walk away. Finally, I learned learned that healing isn't linear. Some days I felt strong, in control, proud of myself. Other days, a song, a scent, or a memory would hit me like a sucker punch. And that's okay. It doesn't mean I'm weak. It just means I'm human. Now, several months later, I'm finally feeling like myself again. And not okay all the time. I don't think anyone fully recovers from being cheated on. But I'm free from the constant anxiety, the lies, and the betrayal that consumed my life. I've learned to set boundaries, to trust my instincts, and to prioritize my own well-being above someone else's manipulations. I've started dating again, cautiously, but with a clearer sense of what I won't tolerate. I'm investing in friendships and hobbies I neglected while trying to maintain a marriage that was already broken. And most importantly, I've learned to forgive myself for not seeing the truth sooner, for being human, for loving someone who wasn't worthy of that love. If there's one piece of advice I'd give anyone in a similar situation, it's this. Trust your gut, document what you see, and don't let anyone make you question your worth. Betrayal doesn't define you. Your response does. And walking away from someone who consistently lies and cheats is not failure, it's survival. I'm sharing this because I wish I'd read something like it before I spent months doubting myself. Life goes on even after heartbreak, and it can be better than before. Once you've reclaimed yourself. I'll stop there. Click on the like buttons, subscribe to this channel, and have a good day, everyone.